All right. Hello and welcome to our last interest with Mr. TJ.
Okay, so I told Kenny I was going to keep all interest to myself and just hit him on the spot as we went. So he took guesses, and the first two, he pretty much knew what was coming. The third guess was completely wrong, so he has no idea what I'm about to bring up. But I'll say this: I started with fitness because fitness is the foundation to life, and again, what you use to sprout outwards and use for everything. Everything comes back to it. I took you to the top of the mountain. You know, the cherry on top. What's the penthouse of the building.
Yeah.
With travel, it's like the last thing. So I gave you the opening and the close, the body paragraph that pulls everything together. And you could argue what's the most important, but this is definitely maybe the most important, and it's the middle of your proverbial house. My third interest is time.
Ah.
Time.
Interesting. I would have never guessed. Yeah.
And you could argue maybe that's not an interest, but I would say it's an interest because it's the most valuable thing in life. Another thing I learned from my parents, and I have learned firsthand, time management is the most important management. It's the most, I don't know if you want to call it a skill,
Yeah,
but
I
it's
think
the
so.
most important skill. It's the most important thing to master. It's the most important thing to manage and pay attention to. Time. Time is the most valuable resource on this earth. It's the most valuable thing we have. You only have so much of it. Like, you're watching this video right now, think to yourself, how old are you? How much
Yeah.
time has gone by to get you to where you are now?
Yeah.
How much time do you have left? It's a scary concept that makes you say, shit, I don't know.
Yeah.
Are we already, halfway there? It's like time.
And if we're lucky, if we're lucky, we're halfway there.
Some people could
Something
not be
could happen
lucky, and
in
it's
a
almost
blink of an
over
eye.
at our age. Or, some people don't make it this far in time.
Yeah.
It's a little, deep, but...
It's true. It's a reality.
And ask yourself, are you where you want to be? And if you are, you could always improve. And what's the key to doing that? Managing your time. So making the most of your time, self-awareness, and using your time right, wherever you want to be. If you want to do fitness, if you want to do travel, if you want to do music, if you want to be better at whatever your day job is, if you want to enhance to your next job, you break down time. You go, okay, I got to work 40 hours, got to commute, got to go to the gym. That's 55 hours in my week. I still have X amount of hours. And then you manage your time. You make a list. I have Saturday, Sunday, and 2 hours at night, Monday to Friday. I'm going to learn a language, or I'm going to study code, or I'm going to take 2 or 1 courses. I'm going to do what I have to do to get to my next job. But don't just... life is a balance. You want to live in the moment and be real, but there are times where you need to focus and plan. So... making the most of your time, utilizing it, and helping it, send you to wherever you want to be is why this is such a big interest. Did I say for last? Best for last?
Yeah.
It's the most important thing.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. I like your model of where it was like... Because I think of the food pyramid that's like a triangle. I just think of that when you're like... health and fitness, and then time being the bulk of it, and then I guess once you have those things all...
You can point up to, basically travel is your dessert. It's your leisure.
Yeah.
Health and fitness is your meal prep, your appetizer.
You can't do anything without
your
those.
Starter,
If you're unhealthy or bedridden or any of the above, you really can't do the other things.
Time is your glue. Time is the most important aspect of life.
Yeah.
Because in order to study, to get good grades, to get whatever certificate or degree, to land the job that you want to work next or for the rest of your life, you need to use time properly. Yeah. In order to be healthy, work out, look good, you need to allocate time. To travel, you need time. Whatever you're doing, you need to count, the minutes, the hours, and do a little planning. Like I'm somebody, I like to sail by, what's the phrase? I like to, ride life on the seat of my pants. I like to go in blind. I like to, we were just watching football in our break here, and the Packer highlights are up, and we brought up just now Brett Favre. I'm like, that guy was a gunslinger. Like, he would just close his eyes and ride by the seat of his pants, and that's how I've likened myself, just flowing.
Yeah.
But still, somebody like me, there are times where I need to be level and plan. And if you don't plan and time rides by, you're going to be filled with regret. So time is the most important element of life to master.
And I feel like time is something that doesn't. It's funny. Time doesn't hit a person unless they have had some time. If that makes sense.
That
like if
makes
you're a young
perfect
kid,
sense.
you don't know what time is, so you don't really like.
You only feel time heaviest when you've wasted it.
Yeah, there's a saying they say youth is wasted on the young. It's because they don't know how good they got it, and so they think they're going to be like this forever. I mean, we all thought that, I think a summer when I'm 16, I thought that's the longest period of time that I can think of, like even a day. My dad used to tell me this. He's like, when I was like 10, he's like, I would go out and play with my friends in a summer day, and he's like, that felt like forever. That's so funny because you don't have anything really to like backdraft it on to compare with. So like the older we get, I'm 30. I don't know if you want me to say your age, but you're a little older than me. You start to like appreciate it now that like time is not a infinite thing.
No. And I'm sure
I think I'm still getting better at like trying to use it for my advantage, though.
And I'm sure the older person you grab, the shorter and faster they'll tell you time is. Like you're saying, like a young kid, I'm in this class forever. This aftercare is forever.
Yeah.
They probably won't say summer's forever, but like a day is forever.
Yeah, it feels.
And the whole person is like, live every moment because it's here today, gone tomorrow.
Yeah. 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 Interesting. I know a funny joke, but no jokes.
Well, I mean, we've got X amount of time here
That's
to
true.
make the most of this video.
That's true.
To really elaborate to the audience. So
well, there was
let's stick to time.
I guess I could. Oh, you see what I did there? There was a Lewis Black joke where he's like, I guess there's just some curses in it, but whatever. So there's this Lewis Black joke where he's like, when you get older, it's like people say they have this problem, that problem. He's like, I don't care about the physical problems. He's like, my problem is that time moves really fast. He's like, you know how long the summer was for me? 3 days. Right. And one of them was July 4th, and I didn't even have a barbecue. He used to say stuff like that, and I don't know why. But like, why do you think time moves so fast? Like when we get older, is it because of responsibilities? Maybe.
You know what I think? Working in New York before COVID, the days were forever. They were long and drawn out because I was doing something I didn't enjoy, but the weeks were fast. The
weekends?
The weeks.
Oh, the weeks. Interesting.
Fast.
So the days were long.
The days were long, but the weeks and the months were fast.
I can see that with my job,
too. If you're doing something miserable that you hate, you feel every minute. I'd go in there, it'd be a 9-hour work day, and I would just be like, oh, God, it's 10, it's 11. Finally, it's lunch. Lunch would have in a second.
Yeah.
And then it was like I'm back on the floor. But the next thing I know, I've been here a week. I've been here 2 weeks. Oh, I'm a month in.
Yeah.
I'm 2 months in.
Yeah.
And time varies on pleasure. I just think young kids are under the leash of their parents. So there's a lot of stuff that they're just forced to do, which makes time slow.
Yeah.
As we get older, sure, we get a job, but everything we do is our own choice. It's leisure. So time moves faster because outside of work, we'll just choose to do what pleases us. And time flies when you're having fun. The old adage is too.
So the best case scenario is time is flying because you're having fun. That's the best case.
Best case, yeah, just make the most of your time because it's
when did you discover that? Because I think if we were 10 years younger, if we were both like 19 and 20, and I asked you this, I don't think time would have been an interest, nor would have been one of mine. So what do you think in the past 10 years has gotten you to include this as an interest?
Just looking back on things, I'm going to be totally honest, I'm not where I want to be, I'm not where I need to be. I'm still trying to plan a move, a career move. There's self-improvement things I have that I want to do, and as I'm getting older, I'm not old, but as I'm getting older, I just think about time that I could have utilized. I'm not saying I have regrets, but there's definitely some time that's gone by that could have been utilized better. And hearing it from my parents, does make me say, time really is valuable. And right now, during the COVID quarantine, I lost my job. Just waking up every day, I'd wake up, I go, oh, it's sunny. I have the whole day. And then I start doing a whole bunch of nothing. Like whatever I'm doing that's not productive, going around, doing what I'm doing, it's dinner time. They flew by, you know.
Yeah.
That's how time works. You know, you got to make the most of it because it goes quick.
Yeah. It'll move whether you want it to or not. Yeah, I got it. The interesting thing is, what was I gonna say? Yeah, it's tricky because, like, how do you? It's almost like a double-edged sword in the sense that, like, you have to, like I said before, with like youth is wasted on the young. You have to go. You have to. Maybe you could disagree with me, but it seems like you almost, and I know I have to as well, and I had to, like, waste time in order to value time. I don't know. That's what I did. I noticed that. Like, I don't know anyone who hasn't wasted time. Even if you ask, like, someone who built, like, a Fortune 500 company, like, right after college or quit college and did that, like, they don't waste time, and they still probably said it went fast. And even they would say, like, oh, I wasted some time. So I wish I didn't take this college class, or, you know, I should have just dropped out of high school when I was early, when I realized it wasn't for me. So, like, I think it's good that, like, you need, personally for me, I need to know that, like, there's a bunch of times in my life where I'm like, damn, that was a waste of time. Like, some years went by, some summers went by where I didn't do anything. But I kind of, like, you and me, we're moving now, and I think, like, in our lives, and I think that's because, I'll speak for myself, but because I wasted a whole bunch of time. I know I just don't want to do that anymore. And when I do waste time, sometimes, and I'm not saying rest is a waste of time, but sometimes when I do waste time, it's like, wow, that was completely a whole bunch of nothing. Like, I just watched YouTube for like 2 hours and I didn't learn anything, and nor did I, like, even was entertained. I was like halfway between entertainment and boredom.
I'll tell you, that's a great example, and another component that I'm still guilty of and I need to work on. When I have a lot of things to do and I'm going through my day, before I go to bed, there are times where I get tired and I lay on my bed and I take a quick break. I pull up my cell phone. I have Facebook. Facebook is this devious big brother technology that just knows what to recommend you in your feed and what to show you. You Google something and then Facebook's trying to sell it to you.
Yeah.
And they say they're not, like, you know, tracking your stuff, but, like, right away you go on your. So I fall into these traps. Like, I go on my Facebook and they're just showing me all this stuff. Like, I forget. I don't know why, but something. I don't know if Shark Week popped up, but I saw something on Google on great white sharks, and it was like great white shark attack seal, and I'm like, oh, like I don't know, it just
I must see this.
So I clicked it, I watched it, and then all of a sudden, the last, like, few weeks to few months, it comes up, and it's not always something that brutal. Sometimes it's just like majestic, this or that, and I can't help but watch. I guess that's why people watch Shark Week. So.
Yeah.
And, like, it's for other things too. I have other random interests.
Yeah.
I'm not into it anymore as a man, but as a kid I like pro wrestling.
Yeah.
So sometimes, you know, I'll go and I'll look at, like, updates, what's going on with some old wrestler I know. And Facebook shows me all this pro wrestling stuff. It shows me sharks. Like, it shows me anything I've just Googled randomly because I find entertaining, it comes up. So I'm bringing this up because when I go throughout my day,
it's a trap.
I have things to do. I get tired of laying in my bed. If I open up my Facebook, I get all the stuff, and I can't. It'll be like, argue 10 greatest pro wrestlers ever, and I'm like, oh, in my head, I have X, Y, and Z, and it better be in this order. And I'll read the article on why that's crap, or you know,
they didn't include this
like,
guy.
And I bring this up because it's more than just these topics. These are just some recent things I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
And I go in, and this always happens, and it's on me to be better. But I go in and I time it. It's always 2 hours. Like, I'm like, this is a lot of time.
That's a lot of
time.
time.
When I was working in the city before COVID, I had a strict day. Like, my commute back and forth was 2.5 hours. I was going down to from you know, Bergen County down to the 20s. So it was tough. The workday was 9 hours. It's 11 hours. I come home. I'm waking up at 5:30. I'm getting home at 7. I'm trying to eat quick. I'm trying to digest, rest for a second, then go to the gym before it closes at 11.
Yeah.
And then I need to get to bed to sleep 5 to 7 hours to go to work. And what do? I'm just so exhausted, can't do anymore. Instead of just going right to bed, I go, let me just sit down for a second.
Yeah.
2 hours on Google. So, you know, it's like I work out less or I sleep less.
Yeah.
And now, even with, you could say it's not as big of a deal, but even now with COVID times with not as much going on, I lay down, I put my phone on, and I'm like, man, I just spent an hour, 2 hours reading these silly articles on random interests, and which led from one link to the next to
Yes.
YouTube videos. And I'm like, it's a waste of time.
Yeah.
I could be utilizing this. Excuse me. I could go and learn Spanish in these 2 hours. Like, I could study something. I could apply to jobs. It's just.
Dude, the articles in Snapchat get me all the time.
And we feel, honestly, time.
Those news
I'll
things.
argue time is always fast, and it's only slow when you're not having fun. But
Yeah.
we just throw away time.
Yeah.
A little, like I do that every day. That's 14 hours a week. My workout sessions before COVID, full powerlifting and running, were about 10 hours.
Yeah.
And then I'm spending 14 hours Googling Facebook stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
There's a lot you could be doing with that time.
And see, I would argue that, like, well, there's a better way to spend one's time. So, like, okay, so, like, if we're like, you know, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Snapchat, on whatever, YouTube, you know, we're tired, you know, especially when you work and stuff, you're tired, your mind wants a break. There's nothing wrong with that. But the worst part about these things is that, like, it's not like a nap or a walk through fresh air, because then I feel rejuvenated after those things. That's true rest for my mind. But, like, these things, it's like I'm still, like, my mind is still collecting data and still judging a little bit, and it's like, it's this weird thing where it's like I wasted 2 hours, but the reason I say wasted is because I don't feel any more rested.
You didn't rest, and you didn't construct.
Exactly. So it's this weird middle ground.
You didn't utilize to build towards something. You just, like, if I wanted to waste 2 hours, let me go finish, like, some other, like, some side project that I'm not going to do. Like, you know, maybe film towards interest. Like, this is not going to get you a job, but it's personal. Let me work on a personal hobby.
Exactly.
Let me go. I said, you know, I'm going to binge watch this series, even though that's not productive. Let me throw it towards some goal. Like what do I, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like,
the series could be restful. It could also like motivate and inspire you if it's a similar story. Mm-hmm. You know, I told you about this one story that I really like because on Netflix. I watch it only because it reminds me of, like, my current predicament, and so I like it like that. I kind of sympathize with the main characters, like, thing. So that is cool. But yeah, you're right. Just like this whole, like, watching pointless articles, and yeah, it's rough.
And
man.
there's more to than that, but.
I remember that happened when I was like 19. I remember, like, and a comedian said something about it too. He's like, I'm in this weird, like I said before, like this, like I'm not bored, but I'm also not excited or stimulated. It's weird.
We're coming on 2 minutes, so I'm just gonna throw out a couple other fast-paced examples. Sure. But more so than that, how many people do you know? Like, life is a balance. You can't know something right away, but you also don't want to do something for too long. How many people get into situationships and just waste their time? Like, I you know, how many men or women try and wait around for somebody too long? You know, what is too long?
What is too long?
You know, how many people I know, a slew of people who had, and you know, 2, 3, 4, 5-year relationships didn't lead to marriage and kids. It could have been put towards.
But you can argue that they needed to get through that to know what they don't want.
You could have built.
You know?
This is.
I still say that that's more structured time and less wasteful than, like, YouTube or Facebook surfing.
You know, I could argue that point, but that's not the point. I could argue that point, but it's not the point. Okay. Like if you thought for sure this was going to be your life partner,
you
parent your children, and that's what you're in, then it was cut out from under you.
Then that's tough.
Yeah,
then that's tough.
We have about a minute, so that was just another example. Working a job that you know you can get a different one just because you're comfortable. Spending time in comfortable situations, even though you know you can do better. Anything else you could think of we could give people on?
No, that last one's a good one. No, you said it well.
Yeah, I mean, that's all off the top of my head, and you know, we got a full episode here, just, you know, playing like Brett Favre, you know. My only thing was, okay, I'm going to talk about time.
You know, this was I had a great time killing time with you.
Yeah. This was a useful
way to spend the
use
time.
of our time. Yep. And that's it. 3-part series over.
Thanks, man. Thanks for coming on.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
Look forward to seeing future videos, guys. Thanks for having me.
Peace.